Hello and welcome to my Ever Messy Art Studio. My name is Keeks and today we are going to be looking at this awesome journal that I actually made homemade from scratch, and I'm going to make a smaller one, but maybe for sketching, and we're going to do that together. But first, before we do that, I wanted to show you some of the artist trading cards that I've been working on. So let me go ahead and get this better in frame. First, to show you an artist trading card that I actually got in the mail from somebody. So this card right here is from Nikki McNeil, and I love it because it's a chicken. So she sent me this really cute chicken that she made here in 2025. But yeah, so this is just simply from Nikki McNeil on Facebook, and this is one of the cards she made. So I am currently in a couple of trades right now, so I wanted to show you some of the ones that I've done, and I've also made some shorts with them that will hopefully already be published by now. My favorite one is the Bob's Burgers one, but I'm going to show you the mommy and child one first. So in this swap, you made mother and child like animals. So the first one I did is a rhinoceros, and then I did some toigas. And then I did some duckies and their mommy. And then I also did a monkey and its child. I did some giraffes. And then my favorite one is the polar bears. So this is the swap for mommy and child animals. So I think that's a really cute swap, and I'm pretty excited with how those turned out. And then the real one that I really love though is this Bob's Burgers one. Like, I am so proud of how I did the characters. So yeah, be prepared. They're very funny. Is that not the best? I think I almost want to redo this one and keep this one because I freaking love how this turned out. I don't think I could have drawn her any better in this, and I can almost hear her going, ah, you know, like how she gets really super excited. And then we got Louise, Eugene. Oops, let me put these a little bit more so that you can keep seeing. Bob, the Bob one makes me laugh so much because it's just because he has a tattoo on his back, and I just wanted to do the tattoo. So I thought that was a funny inside joke. And then we've got Tina as a sandwich. And then the Koopy Kochi. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to keep this Linda. This Linda is my absolute favorite card, and I will have to remake this Linda because I'm just so stoked with how this one turned out. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about the notebook I made. I've got Birds of a Feather stuck in my head from Billie Eilish. I don't know why, but that song's really stuck in my head. So what I've got going here is, this is a book that I completely made from scratch, and I watched probably 20 different videos on how to make books, and I decided that I was just gonna wing it like a chicken wing and try it out myself. So I bought book board at Blix, and I bought a whole bunch of other things. So the paper that I ended up putting in was Archer's paper, and I went with the hot press because I really like the hot press, and this is the very first spread that I did in it. I watched a video from Katie Moody that was like a tutorial of how to do forests, and ended up doodling these two while I was watching it. This one's got like a little river in it, so you can see like the reflection of the trees in it. And then I love what I did with this one because I added moss to mine because I love mossy trees. But yeah, and I was no good at cutting the paper straight, and I felt like I was wasting paper. So I ended up, instead of making all the pages match, I just took a pair of serrated scissors and did edges on it instead. And I actually really like how that turned out, and it really helped with my perfectionism. But yeah, so you can see I did it with, I want to say 20 pieces of paper. Yeah, because I got 4 sets of 5 full Archer's papers in here, so it should end up with 40 pages that I can doodle on if my math is mathing. And there are a couple corners that are sticking a little bit just because it's kind of still tacky here. Not really sure what to do with that. I might take like clear fingernail polish or something and kind of de-tack it. Yeah, so I'm really proud of how it turned out. I think I could have done a little bit better on the spine. The spine was the hardest part for me, but we'll see. You know, you can see part of the spine's not even connected, but it's all staying in there when I go like this. And then to train the book to shut, because these are just folded papers, all I'm using is just a rubber band. I'm sure I could do like a ribbon or something too. Yeah, I just got like a little rubber band here, and then that makes it stay shut. But I'm really proud of how it turned out, so I thought it would be really fun to do a video on how I made it, and then just use some papers that I have here that maybe I don't use as much. And I'm gonna put this paper back in here because I do have Neocolor 2s in there, so I don't want it to get all over the place. I could actually even trim that, it looks like. Let me trim that paper down real quick while we're here. So anytime you use Neocolor 2s, pastels, any of that, if you don't spray it, you really need to put a little paper in between there, for Takis especially, because otherwise your pages are going to stick together or it's going to rub onto the other page and ruin your pictures. So always make sure you've got like a little, what I use is cookie sheets, and just put it in there. You could use a deli sheet, you know, whatever you want, as long as it's kind of waxy so it doesn't stick. But that's what I like to use. So we will definitely be taking a look at that, and we are going to make a book together, guys, and it's going to be really fun. I need to look at my papers real quick and decide what kind of paper I want to use for this, and then we can get started and I can kind of show you what I did to make it. Okay, so it's actually a new day. I ended up having to take a break from what I was doing. But no worries, we're gonna continue working on our book. I also added a really cute sticker from Dutch Bros on here. I stole it from my husband. Shh, don't tell him. But that's all right. So what we're gonna do is first you need to decide what kind of paper you're gonna use. So with the original book, the kind of paper I used was actually watercolor paper because I knew that I was gonna be using mixed media on it. And Arches is kind of an expensive paper, but that's what I chose. So you can use any kind of paper, I feel like, to do this. This time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a sketchbook because I would like to have some sketchbook paper. And I already have actually taken the pages out of this. But this was originally a book from Barnes & Noble, and I've had this book for, gosh, 10 years. Probably something dumb like that. Let's see, I don't know if it has a year on it. It does not. This is a Sketchbook multi-strings 8x11, 192 pages, acid free. It was originally $10. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's a year in this one. I don't know that there is. And as you can see, I've torn out a lot of pages in it. But I decided that I just wanted a book for sketching. So that's what we've got going on here. And I just realized that my desk light is not on. So let me go ahead and turn that on. I'm not very prepared today. All right, so what we're gonna do is we need to make little tiny books. And there is a special name for those, but I can't really think of it right now, mostly because I'm distracted, but that's okay. What you're doing is you're going to be making little books that you're going to end up stringing together. And like I said, they do have a name I'm just not thinking about, but when I go back to edit, I'll just be like, hey, the name of this is Bing, and that name should be showing on your screen right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our paper, and what I do is I make these little books with 5 pages each, so it's going to end up with 10 pages in each little section that you're making. And you can use any type of like a ruler or whatever you want to bend the pages. I have been using this bone folder just because I like how straight it gets the pages. So what you're gonna do is I'm gonna move this over to the side, and we're gonna do that with 5 of them. I didn't want you to sit here for me doing all of them because I want this one to have 5 sections in it, so it's a little bit bigger than the other book that I made. But I want you to see how I'm doing it. So we've got one page. Do the second one. Two, and each time you do it, what you want to do is put it inside each other. So you're just gonna stack them inside each other. Here's the third one. I'm just gonna smooth it out. Oh, I just realized I put this one in backwards. Don't do that. Put them all the same way. Okay, so that's 3 pages. There's another one. So this will be our 4th page. Just like that. And then this is our 5th page. And try not to get them too dirty. I don't have the cleanest desk on the planet. But you know, it is what it is. Just like that. And then put it inside. Looks like this is the innermost one. And voila, they're all here. So I'm gonna move the camera out just a wee bit here. Excuse my messy desk. I do always apologize for it each time. So now we've got all of our sections. And now what we need to do is we need to decide where our holes are gonna be. So I usually, geez, I've only made one book. And like I said, I'm not a book expert. I just wanted to show you how I did it. That way, if you wanted to try, you could. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open this up to the middlemost page, like that. And I can see where my fold line is. And I'm gonna take a pencil and a ruler. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure 1 inch and put a dot in the middle there. And where the 2 inch mark is, I'm gonna put a dot there. And I'm gonna go over here and do the same exact thing. So I'm gonna look at my crease and go 1 inch, 2 inch. So you should have holes like that. And I'm gonna do it to all 5 of these sections. So I've got 1 section done, which is great. So I'm just gonna fold that back up like a taco. Go on to my next one. I'm gonna do the same thing. And if I think about it, I'll speed the rest of these up just so that you can kind of see my repetitive motions here. I'm not a terribly measury person, so if this isn't the way you've seen other book people do it, once again, just doing this for fun. I just wanted to make something of my own. So now all of these little sections have dots in the middle now. So give me 1 second and I am going to show you what you can poke holes with. So you can do this one of a couple different ways. You can use the tool you're supposed to use, which is this thing that looks like an ice pick to do it. Or you could be a dumbass like I was the first time and use a needle and a thimble, and it's gonna do the same exact job. So you don't need a fancy tool if you already have a needle or like an ice pick or something. Like, you can just use a needle if you need to, as long as you're careful. But what you're gonna do is first make sure that your pages are lined up the way that you want them to, so pretty tight to each other. and then uncover whatever sharp pokey thing you decide to use. And then you're just gonna simply poke holes in your paper. Oh my God, this pokey thing makes awesome holes. I will tell you, with a needle, trying to get giant thread through that sucked. Just saying. So I do like the holes that this is making a lot better. But I did not have patience, and I knew that this was gonna come in the mail the next day and did not wanna wait for it. But if you don't wanna spend money, you can definitely just poke holes with a thick needle, and that's totally fine too. Okay, and we're gonna do this to all 5 of our little sections here. So give me a second and we'll do that. So that was section 1. This is gonna be section 2. So again, just making sure everything's lined up, and then I'm poking a big fat hole in my spine with my pokey thing that I think looks like an ice pick. This is the 3rd one. And I will tell you, doing it with the needle though, just be really, really careful. It's so easy for that needle to slip and you poke yourself. So just be really careful whatever method you're doing. And if you do have one, get one of these pokey things. Just make sure if you have small children like I do, that you put it up in something that they can't see it in. You don't want any pokey thing accidents. Okay. Here's my next one. And here's our last one. Come on, pokey thing, don't fail me now. Oh. Okay, so we have poked until we can't poke no more. All right, now what did I do at the top of this? Here it is. All right, pokey thing, you've been officially poked. Right, so now we have all of our little guys here. And now is where we're gonna get crazy, because we're gonna start sewing. So I did not measure how long my string was for this. I just kind of picked a string and went with it. There are different kind of needles you can use. You can use a straight needle like I did, or you can use curved needles. I don't really think it matters. I used a straight needle because that's what I'm used to doing. I do not actually sew per se, but I do love to cross stitch. And with cross stitching, you use a square needle. We could try a round needle just to see what it's like. Let's try that, because I've never tried a rounded needle before. This could be a terrible idea, but I'm gonna see what that's like, or if it just is confusing. So this is what the regular book needles look like. They're called binder's needles. So it says main use is for sewing books. It has a slightly blunt edge. Or the other ones look like this. They look the same, they're just rounded. So this is what it looks like here. But the holes in it look the same, so we could try that. Let's try it for shits and giggles, because I did buy them, so why not? Might as well use what you buy, right? So we're gonna try one of these weird guys. Oh my god, it's so funny looking. Okay, these are just curved needles. Supposedly they're better, no idea, we'll try it. I'll try it so you don't have to buy it, I guess. And then you want waxed line. If not, you can just buy beeswax, and I'm sure just like having any type of thread's fine. These threads can be separated, but I found it was a huge pain in the ass. So I would just recommend keeping it as a thick thread. That way, you know, it's gonna be sturdy. So I'm just gonna get a shit ton of this, much more than I need. I'm not gonna measure it because I'm not that kind of person. I'm not your gal for measuring. And I'm just gonna kind of get like a big ass line of it. I think that's probably okay. We're gonna hope. If not, we'll figure it out. Okay. And now what I'm gonna do is I am going to put it through my needle. Now the nice thing is this is wax, so I can just bite the end of the needle, or bite the end of the thread, and it flattens it a little bit so that you can slip it on in there. I think I got all the pieces. Oh, I missed one. There we go. And then you just slide. Oh, we didn't get all of it in there. So sometimes that happens. So we just want to flatten it again. If we have to, we can recut it. Not a big dealio. Let's try and get that through there with that other thread. Oh, got it. All right, cool. I don't know if I'm gonna like this rounded needle. I'm gonna say that right now. It feels weird already. Yeah. I don't know. We'll try it. I'm already not sold on it though. Is that terrible? I'm just like looking at it like this is a lot. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the end of this big long rope. And what I did is I tied a knot. And I just did like a simple double knot. Nothing too big, nothing too small. So I just went 1, 2, and then I went ahead and left a little bit of an edge, but if you want to, I'm sure you can just snip it, and it's not gonna do much. So I'm just gonna go snip like that, and you can make it as close or far away as you want. I'm sure that's fine. And then what I'm gonna do, this is the most complicated part, and this is the part that I'm worried is gonna be really hard to show you. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of, at the bottom, so whenever I did this first, I did kind of like a zigzag pattern to it, but you had to keep the books still, otherwise it was like an accordion. That was not as smart to me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to go straight across on each one and see how that goes instead. So I'm gonna turn it sideways, and I'm just gonna kind of put this through the hole. I already don't like this rounded hook. You know what? We're not gonna use that needle, excuse my French. We are going to use a regular one. And I apologize, I am kind of in a stressy mood at the moment. This is kind of my way of relaxing for some reason. So we're just gonna go with it. Let's see here. Get that through the hole. Because I can tell you, honestly, if you're cussing a lot during this process, it is expected. All right, so we've got our needle now. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it through the first book here. Put it through our holes. Oops, did we not get lined up again? So this is why lining up is really important. So we want to put it through our holes without causing new holes. There we go. And then we're gonna see if our knot is big enough. Because if not, we might want to triple knot it, because this is bigger than what I used last time. So I think that knot is going to be big enough. So now I'm going to actually poke it through the bottom one, because we're actually going to start at the bottom, not at the top. That was just to set our knot. We are going to eventually go through all these holes, but not right now. So I'm going to go ahead. Do I want to start it like that, or do I want to? Well, we've already done it. It's fine. I was going to say we could go through the smaller part there, but that's okay. So like I said, bear with me a little bit, because I've only done this once. Okay, so right now we've got it looking like this. I'm going to close it. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to go through the back of this one. Try to get through all the little holes here. And pull it. This is going much easier already than it was last time I did this, because last time I did it, like I said, I was only doing it with a needle and a thimble, and it was a huge pain in my butt. And I'm sorry if I'm shaking the camera a little bit. I'm just trying to get things through holes. Okay. So we've got these two in there. You don't want to pull too tight because we don't want it to break. Okay, so we've got that in there, and then where'd my needle go? Over here. All right, so now we're gonna open this up where it is, and we're gonna go through this top hole that's in the same section. I'm just gonna pull it through. Oops, we're capturing pins. That's not good. Nope. Okay. And I will say, working with this long thread, make sure that you are double checking that it is actually going where you think it is going, because sometimes it does not. Okay. And now I'm going to take my next book. I'm going to make sure I'm in the middle here, and I'm going to stick it through here. Pull it through. And then I'm going to stick it back through this hole, the next one, like this. I'm going to do that all the way. So at this point here, I'm probably going to fast forward until I'm done, and then we switch to the other side. So on this part, all you have to do is just keep switching back and forth. As you can see, I'm just lining up my pages, slipping them in, and then just going back and forth. And then you'll also see me turn it around and go back through. That way I can make sure that I'm getting all of them. But yeah, so you're just kind of doing that motion of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until you are getting the entire book to where all of those pages are connected to each other on the top holes and the bottom holes. And then once you're done with that, then you are actually ready to start doing the cross stitch part, or at least what I call the cross stitch, because it's, to me, just a giant cross stitch. Okay, so now we have to actually go back into it. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna go back to your original hole, and we're gonna start the cross stitching part of it, which, at least that's what it looks like to me when people do this, is like a big old cross stitch. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come out here. Oops, you don't want that to happen. Okay. And I will say, because this is waxy, take a moment every time just to make sure it actually goes through stably, because sometimes it doesn't, and that's a huge pain in the ass when that happens. Because I ended up having to make like a weird bookmark thing out of one that didn't work out quite well in mine. So I'm gonna warn you before it happens to you. Okay, so try and get it through that original hole. There we go. Okay, so what we're doing is we're cross-hatching this. And you want to do the whole row before you move on. So see, now this section is connected to this section up here. And then I'm going to go through the bottom again and do the same thing. So go in through the bottom. You're going to have a lot of like stitches next to each other. Remember, I did this with a needle at first, or like with a needle hole at first, so it sucked. If you do this with the bigger one, it's going to go much easier for you. So looking back at this part, it's kind of hard to tell what I'm doing, but I'm going diagonally with each stitch until I get to the end, basically. So just keep going diagonally with it. We're not making the cross part yet until we get to the end. There we go. And then through this last one. I'm sure there's a way to get this tighter than what I'm doing. I haven't figured it out yet, so I apologize for that, but I am doing what I can, and sometimes it's fun, you know. It's okay if it's imperfect. I feel like I'm learning each time I'm doing this already. So, like, I feel like this way is definitely a lot easier than the first way I did it. So I don't mind. And then what we're gonna do is when we come back through the bottom of this, we're gonna go the opposite way and do a big old X. Stuck on some pages again. Totally fine. There we go. So now there's an X here, and that's what we're going to keep doing. So it'll be just like the same motions that you did in the previous way. You're just basically going in a diagonal the opposite way, and it should give you an X at the back of the book. So you just keep going and going and going until you make your last X. Like that. So that's got my pages together. And then this is when you should have went up here. Like I said, we're just here to make mistakes together. And then I can poke it up the top. But normally journals don't have two strings going up and down like that. Usually it's one in the back and one in the front. But this one will just be special. Make sure it goes all the way through. There we go. And then the rest of this I'm going to put on fast forward because I'm going to do the same exact steps that I did here and do it down here. So I'm going to put it on fast forward and you'll be able to see that process. Okay, so I think I actually lost part of that recording. I'm a little confused about what happened because I thought I was recording that whole time. I think what happened is my phone fell off the stand here whenever I was sewing my signatures together, and I didn't realize my phone stopped recording. But yeah, so now I'm done with this. I've done it both sides regardless, and I filmed the whole way doing that one, so I guess missing one little part's not really gonna matter. So I'm gonna pull my string through, and now I'm just gonna tie it off. So I'm just gonna be kind of careful and try to guide the knot as close as I can to where I want it to be. Gosh, I poked my finger too. I'm kind of glad that wasn't on camera. So I know some of y'all probably don't want to see that. Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna try to get it as close as I can to the edge because I want it to be as tight as I can make it. So I've got that in there, and then I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do a double knot. And like I said, if I can, I'll slip it down as far as I can. It looks like that's as far as it wants to go, so we're just gonna go ahead and loop it in again. the old double knot. There we go. So I'm gonna probably have some loose pages there. Well, that's okay. The main thing is we now have a book that's functioning. So, and this is all gonna be glued, so hopefully it won't matter. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut with my scissors here. Like that. So one thing I wanna say is if you get to this point in your book where everything is all together like this, that was the hardest part of making the entire thing. For real, it was. So if you get to here, you are good to go. Now give me 1 second, I'm gonna get some supplies for this. All right, so for this next part, I honestly have no idea if I'm doing this part right. So I would definitely look at some other videos for this next part, but we're gonna do the spine, and I'm doing it a little bit different than I did the other day. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of measure here. This is like some cheesecloth, I think is what it's called. I'm just gonna cut out a little rectangle of cheesecloth. Something that's about spine length. So as I go, I'm just gonna hold it up there and see what it looks like. Ooh. I realize I'm a little off camera here, so I'm just kind of don't entirely like this stuff because it's a little difficult to cut. So the way they do it on some of the videos is to use the cheesecloth and then use this on it. But I don't really think you need the cheesecloth, if I'm totally honest. I didn't even do either of those two steps on mine, and I just glued it straight to what I was gluing it to. So you could do it either way. Seeing how this is, I don't know that I want to use the cheesecloth. I think I might not do that part. But I do want to at least try this little backing piece, because I didn't try that last time, and I just want to see what the difference is going to be. See if it makes the book a little sturdier, I guess. I don't think it's necessary in my opinion. So I think this little piece is going to go here. So what we're going to do is we're gonna take some of this glue stuff, and I think I'm actually gonna put it on this part first. Because like I said, I didn't fiddle with this part last time. I just kind of put the book together and called it good, but we're gonna try it. If not, the way I did it, I skipped this part. So totally up to you. My glue brushes. All dried out. So I think this is just supposed to reinforce the spine. And the glue that I'm using is called pH Neutral PVA, Professional Quality Adhesive. There's probably bookmakers watching this like, oh my god, what is she doing? This is terrible. But it's okay. It's a learning process. I'm still learning. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just squish it down, I guess. Squish her down. I'm going to kind of roll it a little bit. Make sure it gets on all the little edges. Otherwise, I'm just going to squish it down. I'm just holding it down. So I'm trying to see if I can get all the little pieces to stick. or all the signatures I want to say, to stick to this piece. I'm just going to hold it for a little bit. I think this is the part that people usually use that big wood thing on. Which, I mean, if you want to be professional, sure. But if you're just going for fun, let's do it this way. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just not going to be very tight. Okay. I can see it's working because it's starting to conform to the spine pieces. Just gonna wiggle it some more. Make sure we're sticking. And it is. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a rubber band. Which I'm gonna get one of these long ones, big one like that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, not break the rubber band, I'm gonna take the rubber band and go like this with it, because that's gonna keep my book closed. I call it training my pages, is what I've dubbed it. So I'm gonna train these puppies to stay closed. And I'm just gonna let that keep drying. Okay, and then while that's drying, we are going to work on getting the book parts done. So first we need to measure a little bit. And we're gonna measure the spine. And we're going to measure what these pages are at. So I'm gonna take my ruler here. And I see that this is about 5.5. 5.5 by 7.5. So what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to take a cardboard, anything like that, book board, whatever you got. And I'm gonna need 2 pieces that are 5.5 by 7.5. And then the other thing I need to worry about is the spine. So see, this is also about 7.5, and it's about a little less than an inch across. So we're gonna have that to deal with, and then I also am going to make 2 very skinny little pieces, and I'll tell you the measurements of those in a little bit, but to put on each side of it to help it bend, the book bend. So let's see here. Just under an inch there. Okay. So what we're gonna do, and first I'm gonna cut out the little spine pieces, I think. So I'm just gonna set this to the side while it's drying. And I'm gonna get this out of my way. Like that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if this is 7.5, and it is. Cool. And then I'm gonna use a pencil. Where did my pencil go? Here we go. So this is already at 7.5 here where this line is, which is great because I'm gonna use it. And then this part wasn't quite an inch. It was right under an inch. So it needs to be right about here. So mark that there. And then I like to do 1/4 of an inch for those little, or not even 1/4, like, I don't know how to explain this. I want to do 2 centimeters for the little guys. So I'm gonna go boop. Or maybe that's a millimeter, I'm not sure. 2 little line strikes on here. That's what we're gonna say. And I know I sound ridiculous, but I don't care. Hey, this ruler doesn't have a metal piece in it. That's weird. Well, we definitely want the metal piece. Here we go. This one does. Okay, because we want it to be straight, or as straight as we can get anyway. So I think that's about right. That part might be a little small, but that's okay. For some reason, whatever those pieces are, it helps the book bend better. Kind of messed that up a little bit, but that's okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a razor blade and I'm gonna start sawing at this thing. And one thing I will say is, while the other part, the stringing, is the hardest part of the book, this part is going to take you the longest because it takes forever to get through the book board. So I'm definitely fast forwarding both parts of this, and then whenever I get to parts where I'm talking, I will just pause and let it talk. It should just kind of pop off like that. So we've got that, not quite even, it's fine. And then we need our other two little pieces here. Be really careful whenever you're doing these two little skinny parts. The two little skinny parts of the book board are really difficult, and I think part of it is because they are so skinny, so it's really easy to lose control of your knife here. So just kind of trust yourself, but also be very, very careful, and just make sure that you're never pointing the knife directly at yourself for safety. Got that. All right. So it's pretty good. And then the next thing that we need are the actual pages. So what did I say that those were? I think I said those were 5.5 by 7.5. So let's measure and see what we've got over here. So I should still be able to get it on here. So let's see. Oh yeah, we're gonna be okay. 5.5, which is right here, and then we want that by 7.5, which is going to be right here. And I apologize that this is kind of hard to watch. I was unsure how I was going to film this part, if we're honest. And then we need to do it again, but let's go ahead and make our mark straight across. And then let's go ahead and worry about cutting that out before we worry about anything else. So let's go ahead and get our razor back out. Sorry about that, I had to check and see what time it is. Today is Ronan's first day at school, so I'm gonna make sure I'm not late to the bus stop. Alright, so let's cut across here. Once again, just be super, super careful whenever you're cutting these. Always point that knife away from yourself, just to make sure that you don't get cut. Just can't be safe enough, you know? So I just want to make sure that everybody's practicing good safety. Got it. So we've got that piece. And then we need to do the same thing again. Probably gonna break this piece off if it'll let me, because I don't, it's already too long. So I'm gonna just try to take this piece off so that it's not in my way anymore. Okay, there we go. So now this can just be used as little thin pieces. Let's see here. So right about there is 5.5 inches. Let's re-measure and remark, just so that we're not totally messing ourselves up here. So we don't want to do that. I'm gonna move that right there. Where did I put my ruler? You know, it's probably right in front of my face. There's the ruler. There we go. Okay, so we've got 5.5 is right there. And then we want it by 7.5 inches. So it's like right there. Okay, something is not even here. So I'm showing that that's 5.5 inches. Like I said, if we have to trim, we'll trim. We'll do our best. All right. This is the best at measuring I'm getting. Sorry. It's kind of funny looking back at this part. It actually looks very cockeyed to me no matter how I measured it. So I guess, you know, you can measure it and remeasure it, but I will say my end product did end up working out for me. So it's okay if it's a little off. There we go. So it's not perfect. Definitely not perfect. Oh God, no. But it is something that is gonna work. That's what we want at the end of the day. So now what we're gonna do is we have to decide what kind of fabric we want to use, and we need to make it to where it's gonna work with all 5 of these pieces. So it's gonna be kind of like a puzzle piece. Where they all need to fit together. And I see that that doesn't look long enough. But it's okay, we're not gonna let it ruin our party. So I do have some fabric that I wanted to use for this. I'm just gonna grab that Sharpie. So what I thought we could do is I thought it would be cool to use this tea towel that I found and a scarf and some stuff. So I've got quite a few things I can use with this. So I've got this this tea towel that I really like. I'm gonna put my glue lid on real quick because I just realized I left it off and I don't want it to dry out. But I got these and it says "Be Kind" on it with a B. I think that would be really cute. So I'm hoping that it's gonna be long enough. But I think that would be really cute to try and put on the spine, or I can even do like this if I needed to, because we are gonna have to fold over some of this. And then I also have some of this I thought could be decorative, and some watermelons. So I was just thinking that maybe that could be some fun fabric to play with. I was really kind of hoping that would work from this side though, so I could have the "Be Kind" be in the middle of it. Like that, but I don't know that that's gonna be, it might be just long enough, I think. I'm gonna cut along the lines here. Maybe this one, because I think that line will be long enough. Just gonna grab some scissors. Just gonna cut. Like that. Okay. And then I'm gonna move these guys. Set that down like that. And then we're going to get gluing. But I'm gonna take a short break because it is almost time to pick my son up from school. So I'm gonna do that real quick and then I'll be back. Okay, just kidding. So it looks like I still have at least 20 minutes before he gets here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start gluing, I guess. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put glue down and then put it down and yeah, go like that. And we're just gonna see what happens. Now, these are not even, So there could be a little bit of weirdness happening, and that's okay. We're just gonna go ahead and go with it and see where it gets us. And it should be all right. Like, some of this is gonna fold down. It might be a little long on the top parts. Let's see. So I want it to be, I think the top is too long. So we're gonna trim it a little bit. Maybe right about here-ish. Not perfect at this, so give yourself a little grace, as they say. It's okay. All right. Here we go, and I'm gonna throw this scrap away. I actually cut that pretty good. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna map out where everything is again. Thing like that. And I'm gonna start gluing. Excuse the thunder. So I'm gonna put a lot of glue on it. Gonna rub it everywhere. And you know what? This glue brush seems like it's toast. So we're gonna use a bigger brush. Hold on 1 second, I'll grab it. We're gonna use a sponge brush. And by a sponge brush, I mean these. So I'm just gonna go edge to edge with it. Edge to edge on my tea towel. I'm curious to see how this is going to react because I did not use a tea towel last time. I used actual fabric, but I really, really liked this tea towel, so I'm hoping it works. Okay, just going to press that down like that. Put some glue on this guy. Like that. And I'm going to press them down. And be aware, the glue can seep through. I had that happen last time, so just be aware. Because my fabric was pretty thin. Kind of glad it started raining. It's been very hot here. Really hot, like a heat index of over 100 hot. Not a fan of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick that guy there. And I'm gonna give this a little bit of space here like that. Okay. I have plenty of glue on this brush, so I'm just gonna go for it. If glue gets on my fingers, oh well. My fingies will survive. Okay, got that. And I'm going to squirt a whole bunch of glue on here again. I'm just kind of pizza sauce it. This is my pizza. that. And here's the scariest part. Now we're gonna try to fold this stuff over. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put glue along the edges. Like this. And to me, this part's the scariest part, just because I feel like a lot can go wrong here. Could be wrong, but you know. So I'm just gonna goop it. Sponge it. Like that. And then we're going to real quickly pull and tuck. And this fabric is going to be too thick at the bottom, I can already tell. So what I might do is cut this weird seam off, because I didn't want that. Hopefully the glue doesn't dry too fast at the top while I'm doing this, because you can see that this thick seam at the bottom is not going to be helpful. So it's going to go away. Okay, let's see if we can get it to stick. Parts of it's already drying, so we're going to be quick. I just want to fold it and tuck like that. Now what I did is on these corners, I just put extra glue, because I didn't want to deal with it. Put extra glue and fold. And if it's too much, just cut the damn thing off. Because I don't see a problem with it. I see that this has like some sort of weird seam. We can just do a little bit of surgery. Like that. And we're just being creative here, we're not being actual bookmakers. Creative people have creative solutions. My solution is to cut the corners off and put more glue. Glue. That corner may need to be cut. Too much corner. I have a paintbrush in my mouth, that's why I sound like that. Sorry. Okay, so I do have a weird corner right here. I'm just gonna put a little bit more glue in there and try to smush it up like that. Okay. You should be able to close your book. Now watch out, because if you got little pieces, it might stick. Okay. So we've got that. And now is where we are going to go ahead and glue the rest of it. So I'm just going to put a ton of glue down, because we want it to be soupy and thick. And we may have to do some repairs to it, just keep that in mind, because we're not bookmakers. but we're learning as we're going. And this is the first time I've ever used this material because I wanted to be creative. And I liked that it had a bee on it, if I'm honest. I thought it was cute. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is, oops, we got some spots where I missed. Make sure you get all the way. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our book, we're gonna slap it down, take each page. Uh-oh, it's a little tall. And smush it down. Like that. And if it's not fully dry, you can move it around a little bit. That'll be okay. So it looks like I didn't quite have enough paper to go around. That's okay. Accidentally got some glue there. I'm just gonna let it hold itself like that. All right, so let's take a look here. So I see that this has some stickiness on the sides here. And other than that, let's see how this, it did work. It is stuck, but we do need to do some repairing, it looks like, because I need to cover this up because I don't want that weird stickiness there. And I also wanted to add some decorations to it. So I think I'm going to use some of the cloth that I cut off earlier and just take like a little strip of it like this and do like a bandage and put it on there. So I'm just going to cut a little long strip, because it's still sticky there. We might not be able to use this page, but at least it'll cover up that sticky. So I'm just gonna glue that down a little bit. Like that. Like I still need a little bit up there too, but because I noticed with the other one it stays kind of tacky, so I don't want that tackiness on my stuff because it'll just like ruin the pages, I think. So I'm just gonna kind of go like that. May work, may not, I don't know, but we're gonna try it. That way that tackiness has a place to be. I don't think there was any tackiness on this side. I think that's okay. But otherwise, we've got ourselves a pretty good looking book here. It does look like it stayed together, which is great. Now, this is kind of a problem here. It's a little wide. So that's the only thing that happened, was I got the spine too wide. But that's okay. It's still a book, and it's still pretty good looking. So now what I want to do is I want to add a little bit more decoration to it. So I got this like scarf thing. I thought it would be kind of fun maybe to glue it on, like maybe even if it's just at the top. I think that'd be fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in half here. There we go. do something like that. Okay, so something like that. Let's kind of fold this in half a little bit, I think. But I'd like to glue it on here so that it's kind of like this and just kind of hangs. Like, I think that would be really cool. So let's, or maybe we could even just do it on the front. That would be cool too. Either way should be pretty cool. I think that would look really neat. So let's do it just on the front. I think that could be fun. Like that. And just glue it. Like that. But I think maybe that would be really pretty. Okay. So definitely. And this could totally go wrong. I don't know. I just want to try it. So I'm gonna go kind of like that, and then I'm gonna spread it a bit. I'm gonna use another one of those sponge brushes. And like I said, this could be a terrible idea. I don't know. But I'm gonna try. I thought I would try with you guys, so that way if I make a mistake, you can learn from it. Kind of like that. And then let's put this kind of like that and press down on it. And then I like it folded like this. So I might put some more on here. Oops. Uh-oh. There we go. A little bit more like that. And pasta at a boot. And then I'm gonna fold it down so it's kind of layered, and then push. And this might make it a little tacky, but I'm hoping that it dries not tacky. But we're gonna see what happens. But I just think that would be really cute like that. And then I have these like watermelons that I found at the store. They're like little watermelon pieces of cloth. I thought maybe I could do something down here with that. So I don't know if they're all the same, or looks like there's different ones. So maybe we can do like that one. What else do we got? We got these. We've got a regular watermelon. We've got like a slice here. Really cool. Yeah, these are very cute, but I kind of like this one. Maybe we can just put it like that. So I'm just gonna hold this down. Like I said, hopefully this doesn't ruin anything. I'm hoping it'll just dry, but I don't know. It's not really acting like it wants to stick very well. So I guess we shall see, you know? but we're gonna try it. And it could honestly be because this is fabric, that maybe it's like no-bro, but we're gonna give it a go. Because I don't have fabric glue. But this, whoops, this stuff seemed pretty tactile. Sorry, that was part of that booking board. So I was just gonna reuse my brush that I'd thrown away earlier. Because I mean, why waste a good brush, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, Jane? So, like I said, this could be an awesome idea, this could be a terrible idea. We're gonna find out together. I'm just gonna kind of pop this underneath and kind of give it a little bit of side. There we go. And then hope for the best. I have some fabric paint, so that might, I have paint for fabric, but not, I don't even know where I put that up. The glue's already getting tacky though. It's trying, it is. So maybe if I just put extra glue up here at the top where I want it to stay the most, it might work. I don't know. This is very brand new territory. I don't normally work with cloth. I feel like I'm just making a mess. Ew, it's very wet now. It is goopy. I feel like this is a bad idea. We're going for it because we're cool like that. All right, give me 1 moment. I'm gonna go wipe my hands off. Okay, so I'm not sure if this is the right answer or not, but I just kept putting stuff on the top. It's still tacky. So I would be careful. This is obviously not a fabric glue, but.
Found it.
Oh, you found your robot? Okay, go put it in the kitchen and then I'll fix it in a minute. Okay.
Daddy.
But, I mean, it's pretty cool looking. I just don't think it's fully dry yet. Oh. This part's coming up now. Let's see if maybe if I do some Elmer's glue. I don't know if that'll help or not. I don't have fabric glue, so that's part of the problem here, is you should probably have some sort of fabric glue before you just erroneously put more and more fabric on stuff. But, you know. Who needs to follow directions? This is probably why teachers get mad at students. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. So maybe, hopefully that'll stay.
Mommy, where's Daddy?
Well, I think he was taking a shower, buddy. He'll be back soon. Don't worry. Sorry about that. But anyway, we'll see if that ribbon stays or not. But I just kind of popped it on top where it was tacky at. This part is drier though. It's still a little tacky though. I'm not sure how to get rid of that. But I think it looks cool. And I don't think that the front and the back page is going to be usable in this particular book. But I am very happy with what it looks like for the most part. And this one I will only be using for sketching. So yeah, even though this isn't quite bound properly, I think it looks pretty good and I'm very happy with this. So if you stayed with me this long, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and hopefully you'll be seeing me do artwork in this soon. So thanks, bye.